Hero Siege 2 Season 4.5 is expected to start on August 16th at 7 a.m. CST. Alongside the fresh ladder and new wormhole rewards is, of course, patch notes including item and character balance changes, some quality of life, and additional changes to game mechanics. Today, we're going to read through these patch notes line by line and talk about their effects on the game. Keep in mind that this list is a bit shorter than previous seasons, as the dev team is currently putting maximum resources into Season 5. For those of you that don't know, the closed beta did start just a few days ago, and I will be streaming and talking about that once more classes are available for me to test out, and once I kind of wind down on Season 4.5. Be sure to comment below your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video to check out more Hero Siege 2 content. Let's get started. Just a heads up, this section is going to be a bit unedited just because I haven't really delved into patch notes yet myself. So this gives me a chance to understand what's going on as well as be able to talk about everything with you guys. So first off, we have the Unstable Rift changes. Unstable Dust drop chance buff from 225 to 1 to 160 to 1 on Hell. And then on Nightmare 120 to 1. So I think this is good. Chance to get Heroic Dust from Greater Unstable Dust and crafting buff from 70%. So it makes sense. They took out the ability to get Heroic Dust from boss drops. So they need to take that and put it back into something else. And it looks like they chose Unstable Rifts to do that. So this is going to give you more Unstable Rift Dust and be able to try to use those to get the Heroic Dust from the Gamba from the crafting. So this is a good change. Challenge dungeons, additional rolls to drop item of dungeon chest based on the tier. 1 is 1, 4 is 4. So if you're on Hell 1 and you go into a challenge dungeon, you have 1 additional roll. If you're in Hell 5, you have 5 additional rolls. This is good. Back in Season 3, we had challenge dungeon box galore. We're dropping hundreds of heroics a day out of those chests. And Season 4 started and they completely killed it, which it needed to be nerfed. But I think it got nerfed too hard. Bringing this back, I think, is smart. Just try to get people back into those challenge dungeons. Well, there's a bad satanic zone, maybe they don't want to boss farm anymore, or whatever the situation may be. It does give them a bit more incentive to do challenge dungeon rotations. So, Ruby Gardens, key drop rate reduced from 75,000 to 1 to 125,000 to 1, and then buff the Ruby chest base magic find from 1650 to 2300, and buff the extra magic find from 350 to 400. So last season, I didn't really run a whole lot of Ruby Gardens. I ran maybe 25 to 50 keys. I really don't remember dropping anything significant out of them. So reducing the drop rate, maybe just the overall, they don't want too many keys in the market. However, they want those keys to be, possibly really good, and they want, the expense to them because they made them harder to get. I'm not really sure. Hopefully this additional magic find does make the Ruby Gardens feel a little bit more impactful, but what I don't want to see is people just buying up Ruby Garden keys like crazy out of the market and just constantly have this revolving money maker, basically, right? Where you can just go in with a key and you always win, sort of situation where you go in maybe out of 5 keys and you always win in that case out of 5 keys. So it's a good and bad thing, right? Satanic Zone changes. Angelic buff base value decreased from 25% to 10%, and angelic buff sub difficulty scaling decreased from 7.5% to 3%. There's a lot of people that think that angelics aren't easy to get. The drop rate on them is way too low, and then decreasing them even more from the satanic zones. I'm sure some people aren't too happy about this, especially if you're an SSF. I understand. However, my opinion completely, this is my hot take. You can agree with me or disagree with me. I don't like angelics being easy to get, right? When I think about like hard items to get in other ARPGs, when I think about like Diablo 2, a Zod rune, I've never found a Zod rune. I have tens of thousands of hours in that game, right? PoE, for example, I've never dropped a Mage Blood and I've never dropped a Headhunter. I know we've had crazy leagues for them, dropping uniques like crazy. I didn't play those leagues, but just like generally speaking, I've never dropped those items other than okay, technically one time I did drop a Mage Blood, but it wasn't standard, and that was because I was playing with a buddy, right? And he was like doing some magifying galore craziness in standard, and I was just being his aura bot for fun, right? But I've never dropped one, and I'm okay with that. You want to know why? Because those items are so damn good that when I get one, I'm like, yes, right? And that's how I should feel whenever I drop an angelic in Hero Siege. They should be so goddamn rare that I don't expect to get one but when I do get one, I'm freaking excited, and I re-roll my character. It's that good, right? Maybe I drop Pigstick, and Pigstick is so damn good that I have to make a new character, right? That's how good they should be. So I don't mind them killing the buffs, just make them all insane, right? Item balance, Soulforge Ring. I haven't used Soulforge Ring since Air Siege 1, basically. All talents went up to 2. Cast rate buff, the attack speed buff. Why did they put spaces in here? Sheesh. I don't know if this merits using it or not, like the amount of time that it takes to actually get the Soulforge Ring. I guess technically it's like a guaranteed thing. So, I mean, it's not terrible. If you wanted a couple of skills on a ring and some cast rate or attack speed, I mean, this is a surefire way to get it, right? Reverse card, return Proj. Starting value 30% to 20%. Return Proj scaling 10% 6%. I guess maybe they thought that the return projectiles is a bit too strong on certain skills. I'm not sure. I didn't use it last season. I did drop a 14 bullets. I didn't use that either. So it looks like they are reducing that down a little bit. And then same with the forking. It looks like the starting value 30% to 20%, and then forking projectile scaling actually went up. So overall, not sure. I mean, obviously this will have an impact on any projectile base skills, but how much? I mean, honestly, it's not going to be that insane, I don't think, just based off of the numbers. Decreased roll ranges on angelics. This is a buff, yeah. So all pumpkins and melons, the all skills now roll 5 to 6, right? Materials now will roll 10 to 12. Draxus was now just 4. Autos is 3 or 4. Majori's belt is now 2 to 3, and then liquor holster, the mage blood effect, is now 3 to 4 flasks. So overall, all of these angelics were buffed in the amount of skills it gets, that if you do find a Draxus, maybe you're gonna make a build with that. It's not a +2 Draxus, like that feels even worse. So it does help. This does help. And then it looks like sockets were also buffed. So Gabriel's is now 4. Mika's doesn't have nearly as big of a range. It's now 5 to 6, right? Dawnbringer's 4 to 5, thank God. And then Rex's is now 4 to 5. So huge on the sockets. Same thing with the all skills. It feels really bad whenever you drop an angelic and it has like 1 socket on it or 2 sockets on it. You're like, sweet. You guys like my Pepsi cup? Wormhole scaling. The scaling has been increased to approximately 10 levels higher. I'm not gonna lie, I've never hit wormhole 100. It's just not something I ever care to do. Like I just don't like wormholes. So I don't know what this means. It's approximately 10 levels higher. It's harder now, I guess, right? So there you go. Quality of life. The town portal cooldown reduced from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Honestly, I don't even think that town portal should have a cooldown, but I guess for certain reasons I can see why they have one. But this is huge. Thank God. Huge. Class balance changes. No Mage. Sand Vortex and int scaling went up. Sand Vortex base damage went up. Sand Gush also getting some buffs, and Sand Attunement base damage also getting some buffs. So looks like they're trying to give Sand Nomad some love. I'll be honest with you, I leveled it. I didn't have any problems with it until you get to like early hell, like the later stages of early hell. It does start to fall off quite significantly. This will definitely help it in that department. Well, do I think it's going to be the answer to making Nomad the S tier end game build? No, I don't. But it will make it a bit easier for leveling in that early game push in hell. Paladin Lightning Fury augment scaling 18 to 25. Lightning Fury int scaling by 2 points, and then Thunder Shield damage reduction not as crazy, but the scaling is a bit better. Eye of the Storm lightning damage went up a bit. Holy Hammer base damage, augment damage, and movement diminish, augment size, just everything about Holy Hammer, which is basically hammered in, right? Got a ton of love. And then it looks like Lightning Fury got a little bit of love as well. Holy Bolt, Holy Shock Aura, Divine Storm. I'll be honest with you, I don't know very many people that play any of these. The Holy Shock Aura spec getting a 50% increased damage. That's actually pretty crazy. And the same for Divine Storm. Looks like it got a 25% to its damage. So those are both really nice. I still don't think you'll see me playing a lightning, holy shock, whatever paladin, like a lightning fury paladin. But for those of you out there that are paladin lovers, I know you're out there. I mean, I see 50% increased damage and I see 25% increased damage. I see a little bit better scaling. I saw Elias absolutely obliterate Gabriel on paladin before season 4 started, so giving it even more love. Maybe this is what paladin needs for people to start playing it. I do know that paladin, whenever I was leveling it, felt terrible, so maybe this will just really help with leveling more than anything. And then Holy Hammer, I'll be honest with you, until you get the augment for Holy Hammer, I'm not a fan. I know there's a lot of you out here that are just like huge Hammerden enjoyers from D2. If you love that playstyle, here you go. They're giving you the love. Now is the time to play it, right? Shaman, the Storm Totem spec, 35% to 80%, getting a 45% spec damage increase. Hell yeah. Storm Totem int scaling, almost doubling from 4.85 to 8%. Storm Totem augment scaling to 12%. And the Storm Totem augment extra totem is 5 to 10. Holy guys, I might be a Storm Totem enjoyer. What the? I'll be honest with you, the last time that I played Storm Totem would have been like season 1. I think it was season 1, and I loved it. I played Earth Totem a bit too, and Fire Totem. Like I played all the totems, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know. Maybe we'll try this. Maybe this will be my starter because I don't really see anybody talking about Shaman at all, other than Tornado. So maybe we'll do something a little bit different. Astral Intellect cooldown reduced from 10 to 7. I'm pretty sure this is where it lets you move your totems. Yeah, you can like bring them around with you. So nice. And then the Fire Totem burning scaling got increased by 15%. The damage by 15%, and then just its overall scaling. I don't think this is going to be enough to make it really single target viable, as well as for Storm Totem. I don't know if that's enough to really get the single target out of it. It's just something that I'm gonna have to test and find out. But I remember the last time that I've messed with totems, the single target was atrocious, and I just don't think these numbers are going to be enough to make me be like hogging out, right? But maybe it'll be enough, and that's all I need. Right, I just need enough. Jotun, Avalanche Vitality scaling 5 to 10. Okay. Avalanche cooldown 5 seconds to 4 seconds. That's actually a pretty big buff. Avalanche base damage 10.75 to 20. And Avalanche energy changing from, yeah. Overall, this is probably fine. For those of you that have played Avalanche before, I mean, it's going to feel a little bit better. It's going to have a bit more damage. So if you enjoy Avalanche, maybe now is the time to play Avalanche again. Freezing Leap base damage from 5.4 to 14, and then the Freezing Leap augment damage 18 to 24. This is actually insane for the start. Remember in season 3, or really all the way up until season 4, you could play Freezing Leap and just like wreck everything. Well, last season you could scale the additive damages and stuff, but like right when you got Freezing Leap and you didn't have any, like you just don't do any damage. This will help a ton. Yeah, this will help a ton in just being able to use Freezing Leap until level 16 when you get Frozen Orb, if that's what you're gonna play, right? Or maybe you'll just stay Freezing Leap. Lancer Us plus Commending Banner Leap damage got 5x'd. Lance Thrust specialization multiplier got doubled. Hone defense base damage 3.5 to 25, and then hone defense spec from 30 to 65%. Chat, do I play a Lancer? Oh no. Oh no, do I play a Shield Lancer now? It's been a meme for me forever. I've never played a Shield Lancer, for those of you that don't know. I've never played it, and I have no fucking clue what any of this is about at all. So maybe we'll put it on the list. So we'll flip a coin between like Shaman and Shield Lancer. Oh no. I'm actually starting with Gabe too, so I'm gonna have to tell him like, hey, if I'm starting Shield Lancer, it's gonna take me a minute, right? We can't be going for like rank 1s or anything because I have no clue what I'm doing. Shish. Amazon. And Venom poison damage starting value 26.5% to 30. Poison damage. The specialization went up. The proc chance got doubled. That's good. The proc chance needs to be very high. This is good. I know that Balor Mage played a Poison's Amazon and he really enjoyed it. He was blasting off with it. I don't know if he played in Venom's version or not. So definitely above spec bonus, Caustic Spearhead spec bonus, and Nostril Strike spec. So all of the specs got buffed on the Amazon, which or the Poison's on at least. That's good, right? I'm sure it needs it. Last season, I played a bit of Poison Necro and it just did not feel good. So I can imagine that. Poison's on probably needs a little bit of love too. It looks like it's getting it, so huge. Moving on to Illusionist, Age of Proliferation, specialization damage 75% to 110%. That's a huge buff. Age of Proliferation, not a lot of people play it. It's actually a really solid skill. It's a really solid skill. I'm surprised they buffed it. That's a really nice buff. So if you were thinking about playing Illusionist in the past and you just didn't make that leap, now would be a good time to do it. That's a pretty big buff. Especially for Hell 1 on a classic, it's a free teleport. Yeah. Stormweaver, Lightning Surge Synergy, 10 to 12.5. And Stormcloud spec and Charge Bolt base damage. So Charge Bolt, I feel like you just need so much freaking gear to make work. And once you get like that much gear, you're pretty much shredding content anyway. So like the buff to it doesn't really do anything because you don't need it anyway. Right, so I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe if you're playing Charge Bolt super early, right, that'll help. But in order to scale Charge Bolt, you just need a decent amount of gear. So I just don't feel like it's gonna make that much of it. And I mean, it'll make your upgrades feel a bit more impactful, right? So, and the same for Lightning Surge. It was already a super fast mapper. Like this 10 to 12.5 is not going to make any difference for bossing. It's just going to make it, you know, each upgrade that you do get is just going to feel a little bit stronger because it does have that a little bit extra scaling on it, right? Exo, Black Hole cooldown 6 seconds to 5 seconds. Black Hole spec getting almost doubled, up 30%. Lunar Orbit. You know, the Lunar Orbit, I was hoping this would be way more cool than it was. Like the skill itself is really cool. It's just it really doesn't have a whole lot of damage, and I messed with it and I really couldn't make it work the way that I wanted to. The base damage going from 5 to 8, believe it or not, it's actually a pretty big deal. Hopefully this is enough to, like, you know, really push it. But we'll have to see. Maybe I'll make a Lunar Orbit as like an alt character or second character, especially with the in scaling, the augment damage. Might be able to make something cool out of that. Might not be the the most insane build, but it'll be enough. Asteroid and Dark Side of the Moon mana replenish from 3 to 5. These are whatever. I mean, Asteroid at the beginning of the game, you get a little more love to blow stuff up. So Demon Spawn, one of the best builds of season 4. Bone Storm specialization damage went from 60% to 80%. Bone Storm base damage 5.5 to 6.5, and Bone Storm augment damage 10 to 15%. I'm surprised that they're actually buffing Bone Storm. Well, it makes sense because Blood Surge just is the clear winner by far. And I don't think this is going to be really enough to make people not play Blood Surge over, or make people play Bone Storm over Blood Surge. But, you know, I know there are some people out there that don't want to have to, you know, aim. Like me, for example, I hate having to aim. So maybe this is enough of a buff for me to go and play Bone Storm instead. But it does put you in melee range. So that's another like downside to playing Bone Storm. Mana Shield starting value 10 to 5, and Mana Shield scaling 2 to 0.75. So huge nerf to the Mana Shield. For those of you that know about Mana Shield, it was needed, right? It's definitely needed. Marksman, multi-shot spec up to 60%. Trick shot spec up to 50%. Interesting. So you multi-shot boys out there, you just got a big buff. Master Mechanic attack speed scaling 2.5 to 1.5. Ooh. Oh, that's sour. No, that's sour. What are you doing? Give it back, dude. Give it back. Turret mastery attack speed 1 to 1.5. I ain't gonna lie, the nerf to the attack speed here is rather unfortunate. So I feel like unless you have Master Mechanic up with your drones, they just really don't pop off that hard. They like, you need this juice to make the drones feel good. So White Mage, Heavenly Fire base damage 4.75 to 6, Heavenly Fire instant 6.75 to 7.5, Heavenly Fire synergy 1 and 2 from 10% to 12%, Heavenly Fire augment burning damage 25% to 30%. So Heavenly Fire getting buffed just overall. Still not going to use it. Burst of Light base damage 8 to 10. That's good, right? It definitely needs, like, they're adding the base damage into White Mage, which it does need it, right? Chain of Holy Element augment chance per level 4% to 6%. Okay, that's really nice. Chain of Holy Lightning base damage 9.5 to 11, and the spec is 60 to 80%. I ain't gonna lie, I played Chain of Holy Lightning in Season 4's beta, and I thought that skill was trash. So I don't know if a 1.5 base damage is going to be enough to make the skill not trash and some spec, but it might be something that, you know, if you're playing White Mage or you played White Mage last season and you want to play it again because you had a good time, because it is, as an insane start, it's still an S tier starter, and you want to try and transition into Holy Lightning, this could be something to test. Benediction int scaling 7.5 to 9. Benediction synergy, both of them getting okay. So they did buff Benediction a little bit more, so hopefully that'll help out with, it already has really good AoE. Hopefully it'll help maybe with a bit of single target, just a little bit extra damage there, right? Plague Doctor, Plague of Rats, rat amount scaling 1 per 4 points to 1 per 6 points. And Exploding Mice scaling damage got nerfed, and the Plague of Rats spec damage also got nerfed. So Plague of Rats getting kind of kicked in the nuts. Necromancer. All right, here we go, boys. Here we go. Summon Mastery damage scaling from 10% to 7%. Summon Mastery health scaling from 25 to 15. Summon Frenzy attack speed scaling from 3% to 2%. Bone Spirit Arcane Break scaling 1% to 0.5%, and Bone Spirit projectile scaling per 1 point scaling 1 per 10 points to 1 per 8. So trying to actually give some more Bone Spirit players. Maybe we'll try some Bone Spirit Necro, right? However, they kind of destroyed the Arcane Break. Either way, the one that we care about, mastery damage, whatever you're doing, so much damage that this doesn't matter. Summon mastery health, your minions never die, guys. Your minions literally never die. The only thing that this is gonna matter for is early, right? So you're probably just gonna run Vengeful Spirits anyway. If you're running just if they're gonna shred everything anyway, and they don't get anywhere close to monsters, so they're not gonna die regardless. The only part that this is really going to matter is right when you're transitioning between like Nightmare and Hell, right? And you're trying to get your Valkyrie, you're trying to look for Necro Butchers, and just like kind of get that build moving along and get more plus skills to get more points into their actual summon mastery, right? So until then, you might notice they'll fall off a little bit, but honestly, like, this doesn't matter for later on. Once you get into like, you know, through Hell 1, you're starting to push into like Hell 3, Hell 4, Hell 5. It doesn't make any difference. They're not going to die anyway. They have a ridiculous amount of life. Summon Frenzy attack. This only affects certain minions. So overall, that 1% is not going to make, yes, it is a loss of DPS, but it's not going to be anything you notice. So overall, Necromancer, totally fine. Totally fine. And that's going to wrap up this video. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you want to vote for your Season 4.5 League Starter, I will have a link to a straw poll in the description of this video for you to click so you can go vote on that. if you are looking for any season 4.5 league starters, I do have a ton of guides that I put out for different classes. We also have a tier list showing you what I think are going to be some of the best league starters. Be sure to check those out. If you enjoy Heroes Teach You content, be sure to like and subscribe to this video to keep updated with all my future content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.